Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like doing this. Oh, no, that was early. We'll be right on. We'll be on right after this song. And baby, do we have a show for you? It is all Star Wars. All the get your butts and minds ready to explode. Tommy Reddick. See, I don't like doing this, but I'm gonna teach you a little bit about the world. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to the shop of Anonymous. I swear I don't want anything to do with this, I promise this. You hear me screaming from the top, I'm dropping knowledge. A barrel's too far gone for a rookie, so I'm calling this. Game over for you, trumps the grind is all I know and do. Breathing fire like a dragon's or new power coming through. Yeah, I'm working 3 jobs so that I can frack that crew. The money you dummy in front of no honey can take that love from me. Going to the future and never coming back. Marty McFly now more like his dad. Trying to be calm, all this news is just whack. Propaganda flying, so know everybody mad. Empathy is gone, so we all for attack. If you disagree, you're just stupid and sad. Use intolerance or must be smoking crack. Ignorance is bliss, y'all just a dyad. 2 sides of the same coin, killer. Why we ever stop living up for pillars? Acting like everything in life must be a thriller. We're living in a world written by Frank Miller. Cause the Dark Knight's return, so now we turn. See our heroes messed up and now we spurn them because it pisses us off and now we burn their careers alive to the ground. Cause we yearn to be in their position so that we earn millions and millions and millions. But then we turn it to the very thing we hate. Now we revert and we refer to the lines that we rehearse. Spread love and forgiveness only to sink deeper. What did we learn? Extract myself from the world. Water, earth, fire, air, swirl. Bend it to your will, then hurl. Flying buffalo, why don't you give it a whirl? Grab a saber, then just twirl. Force cut a pear, give her a pearl. Power unleashes a churl. Join the dark side with the guess it's time I get back to work. Captain of my own enterprise, call me Kirk. Anger and depression always seem to lurk. Round every corner, so I write this just a perk. Everybody moved up, cause we screwed up. Living in a country where we shoot up. Anybody disagree, just to move up the food chain where you grew up. Otherwise they beat you down cause you used up. Time to boot up, new mindset program. Think you knew us, but you shoe us. You only care about us to subdue us, just to screw us. Living in a country full of Judas. Stab you in the back, USA or Brutus. Call them Lucius. Bringing out the Dark Knight, now we tuned up. Time to scoop up any positivity. While the masses all have clueless. They can only catch your speed, Mr. New One's opportunist. Leave them naked in the ground, talking ruthless. I am ruthless. Visions full of kid grown ghoulish, broken ruthless. Spitting proverbs like Confucius, call me Tommy Toretic or Nostradamus. Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this? Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you about the Life of Thor Productions official shop. The only place where you can get your official merchandise for the Light of Thunder Action podcast and Life of Thor's Thor Watches series. Whether you want t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, mugs, and masks, Life of Thor Productions official shop has you covered. If you happen to recognize there's an item that you would like to buy that is not in the official shop, head over to the Light of Thunder Action podcast or Life of Thor and request that item, because if you want it, we'll sell it. Just head to lotproductions.threadless.com/collections to get the item that calls out to you via the Force. Again, that is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. Thank you and have a Thor-tastic day. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen! Welcome to episode 37 of Light Thunder Action, where every week we discuss all things DC, Marvel, Star Wars, and the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. Except this week, it's all Star Wars all the time! I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, a.k.a. Thor Santa.
You stole my line. I was going to say, my name's David Thompson, and today we're all Star Wars.
Oh,
all the time. That's all we're talking
time,
about. Of course, the
Same brain.
Mandalorian, the Mandalorian season finale of season 2 has concluded. We had the whole season to talk about, kind of. Really going to talk about the final episode.
We'll be real. We're going to talk about like the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's get it. Final 5 minutes. So anyway, we have the Mandalorian to talk about today. We also have some other Star Wars news coming out of the Mandalorian, which is very exciting. That is directly, spinning off of the Mandalorian. So very exciting news.
I see what you did there directly.
Yeah. I'm a company man. Thomas.
Yes.
Merry almost Christmas. How you doing?
I had a mother effing vacation this weekend.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell that I'm far more energized than I was the last 4 weeks combined, then you're blind. No, I'm good. I really enjoyed getting away. I went to Georgia hiking with the third member of the Brain Trust, Taylor, last name to be determined.
To be
determined. Maybe one day I'll drop his last name if he's okay with it. I prefer being a fan of privacy, but I went to Georgia. We hiked. I thought I wasn't going to work this weekend, but instead I just kept recording the canyons, like getting good photos. And sometimes I would do candid camera, where I'd be like, oh, look, there's people down there. And I'd zoom in and I would just make a dumb skit out of my head. There's a lot of fart jokes, so be ready for that. And then I got into this weird nature documentary where all of a sudden everything was so crystal clear, and that is when I realized I was Thrawn. And then it got weirder and weirder and weirder. I may have found a dragon. I don't know. It might be a dragon. It could just be clay that looks like a dragon. We'll have to figure that out in the next 10 to 15 years when it erodes away. David, how are you, man? You've had a week.
I have had a week. I'm doing all right, though. I'm happy to be here, honestly. And this is bringing back last Friday when things were a little smoother going. But, the Mandalorian, it was quite the season overall. And I'm happy here. We've been through all of it here. This is going to be the 8th week of us talking about it straight. It's been a fun ride. I'm so excited that we have more down the pike when it comes to Disney Plus shows that we can keep talking about and keep up with and keep discussing with all you guys that tune in. I'm doing well. I am just happy to be here after a long day. And I'm excited to talk about something that made me really happy. One quick note before I ask you what you've been watching lately other than The Mandalorian is I noticed, or I read on Twitter that IMDb keeps some ratings of all their every television episode ever. It's crazy. This episode of Mandalorian is a 9.9, which is one of the highest. I think there's only 2 that have 10s ever.
Wow.
And one is from Breaking Bad, and the other one I think is actually from Attack on Titan, that anime show I'm watching.
Oh,
it's kind of crazy, right?
Wow.
There's some, and Clone Wars is up there. There's a few Clone Wars 9.9s.
Yeah,
Stunner, right?
Not even slightly.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe a couple from season 7 too.
That's because season 7 was amazing.
I keep begging my friend Evan. Well, not begging, because he needs to catch up with Mandalorian. But I'm like, dude, just if you ever get the time, just watch the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars season 7. I know you watched it as a kid. Just watch it. It's just, if you like Star Wars at all, you'll thoroughly enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Evan that played soccer at Florida Tech?
No.
Different Evan.
Different Evan. Been friends with him since I was 10.
Oh, what? No way. I'm trying to get my friend that I've been friends with since we were 10 to also get into Clone Wars. And I literally said the same thing. I was like, listen, if you don't want to watch all of it, just watch the last 4 episodes because, bro, it's a movie and it's amazing. And you're going to be like, oh, wow. Is all of Clone Wars like this? I'm like, a lot of it is exactly like that. Before we hop into what I've been watching, I want to give a big shout out to Crookie Monster the First. Yo. Sorry, that's not right. Hey. He said, "Sexy Thor Christmas vibe." Thank you. I do try. Spoiler Force podcast is here with us. Mando, thank you for joining us. Spoiler Force. We are going to be a force of spoilers. Please don't hit us with copyright. But we love you. Thank you for spoiling the Force. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the big question everyone's been wondering. David, what have you been watching this week?
So obviously I watched The Mandalorian. I watched the season finale right now of The Bachelorette's happening. I watched the near season finale last night. Very exciting. While I was doing a fantasy basketball draft.
Busy man.
Yeah. And
that was fun.
Yeah. What else have I been watching? Attack on Titan, which I'm still trying to dive into. Like I said, I've been busy, man. What I've been watching is myself go to work and then come home and type out stories and then go to work and so I haven't been watching too much. A little bit more of The Office. I've been getting through that just because I love The Office and it's just it's the most comfort food show of all time where I'm just like, I just want to relax. Don't have to think. Don't have to barely breathe. Just turn it on, sit back. I've seen it 100 times, just and just relax, You
want to know what all I could think about? So before we really get deeper into Mando, I watched Mando, the season finale at 2:40 in the morning Saturday.
For reference, I was begging you all day to watch it. I watched it right when I woke up on Friday before I got to work. I'm like, all right, I have to get through this. I'm seeing stuff on Twitter already. Well, not spoilers, but Mandalorian. Oh my gosh, wow! All these onomatopoeia, and I turn on. I watch the whole thing. I'm blown away, of course. And this guy, Thomas, takes all day. I knew you're going to lose it for obviously I watched this and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to see it. I haven't talked to you about it. And it took 16 hours later, you finally watch it in the middle of the night. But hey,
I really don't want to talk about how long it took, but listen, 100%. I went to work at 8 a.m. and I asked, hey, can I get off at noon today? I have to leave town. And yeah, no big deal. Well, instead of building a few bikes in 4 hours, I stayed until the next person got there because I had, I think, 7 to 10 bikes that I had to inspect to go out to sell. Yeah. So I went from showing up to help out to working a full shift. And then I got off. And, for those of you that know, I watch Mando with Pops. So I was like, I'm getting off at noon. I'm coming over. We're going to eat lunch. We're going to watch Mando. I've already been told how lit it is.
Yeah.
Then I didn't get off work till 2. Text him, hey, I'm about to leave work. I didn't leave till 40 minutes after that text. I get there to his job. I eat my lunch, which is, 8 hours after I had breakfast.
Yeah.
And then I come home, I pack, I go to his place. Hey, do you want to watch Mando? No, Gold Rush is on. I'm like, your priority is Gold Rush over Mando? And I was like, I'm going to have to watch it without you. I'm sorry. He's like, I figured. And then I get to Georgia. It's 10. I think it's 11 Eastern when I actually get there.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to watch it with Taylor. Their iPad was not doing what it was supposed to do in playing it. So I waited until we went to bed. So I wasn't sitting there freaking out in front of them. That would have been rude. And I watch it and all I could think was, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. Stay calm. Everyone I said stay fucking calm. And I did all of this while laying in a sleeping bed or in a sleeping bag, shaking because it's 28 degrees outside. And I'm going, I don't know if I'm even alive or if I'm dreaming this. Holy shit balls.
What a watching experience.
Oh my God. I couldn't yell. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't grunt. I had no energy. I think I was up for 22 hours at that point. I was dead. But also, the text that I sent was, oh my God, OMG, OMFG, all caps OMFG. Are you serious? Look,
Luke fracking Skywalker. And then I went to bed. And I woke up and he's like, bro. And I was like, dude, did that actually happen? Anyways, what have I been watching?
Yeah.
Really quick, Mando, obviously, I watched Star Wars Resistance. I was feeling Star Wars yesterday after writing my Thor script. So I threw that on. Intriguing. I love the animation because it's so different than what we're used to, but I've seen enough shows with that same animation style that I'm already sucked in. Right off the bat, dude, we get Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron in this first episode, and it is glorious.
Cool.
Now, a bit of sad news. I listened to Jabba the Pod's final episode because Sci-Fi Wire put them on hiatus. Sad face. They said they're going to be back. If you've not listened to Jabba the Pod, I want to cuss at you, but I can't because that would be rude.
I don't see why. I guess does the Sci-Fi, did they own the rights to like the show, I guess?
Yeah. So they all work for Sci-Fi and Sci-Fi Wire, which is, the news organization, which is why I said you should work for Sci-Fi Wire.
Right.
But they all started the podcast and they were funding all the people working on it. They were basically like, we'll pay you to do this. And because of COVID, they had to cut some costs, and Battlestar Galacticast was already ending, which is how I found out about Jabba the Pod, because I listened. Right. I love Battlestar. If you don't already fracking recognize that, Cylon, then you need to get your goddamn mind together and grab your cat and grab your gun and bring in the cat. I had one job. So that got me into Jabba the Pod because I kept hearing this stuff, and I was like, I'll listen. But I didn't start listening until season 7 of Clone Wars came on, because I was like, what? And I had no one to talk to about it except David through text. And that is how actually we started a podcast. So shout out to Jabba the Pod, Matt Romano, Brian Silliman, Caitlin McKenna Bush. Honestly, I should have guessed that middle name. She's got a serious McKenna vibe already. Love it. All the people at Sci-Fi Wire, bring it back. We need it. I've made some friends on the internet because of this show. We started a podcast because of this show. And now we're going to skip housekeeping because we don't have time. We're going to jump right. We're going to pull a season 2, chapter 16 episode of Mandalorian and jump right into the action because, ladies and gentlemen, they jumped so balls deep into the action. We're starting off with a Star Wars chase.
Yep.
And all I could think was, oh, and all of the connotations of like all 6,402 of them. I was having an orgasm. I was having a nerdgasm. I was confused that we were jumping into the action, and all I could think was, wow, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, this, to begin just with, like, I guess I kind of like would always like start these with like, well, what are your thoughts in the episode? Like before we like jump in the whole like beat by beat. I mean, this is the best episode, period, in my mind. Like, I don't care what the other ones do. This is like they built 2 seasons to this moment, like this thus far, and they nailed it. The beauty. Okay, so just quickly, like about this season of The Mandalorian. They nail, which I don't think they did as much in the first season, but now I think the first season looks a bit better after seeing all of this season. In my view, they set so much up in the second season that you get immediate like results, or what's the word I'm looking for? That you get
resolution.
Resolution to, and comebacks. Like Boba pops up in episode 1. Okay, like. And then a few episodes pass, and we're like, "All right, is he even going to come up in this season again?" Boom, he's back in what episode like 6, and then he's in basically the rest of it. Now he's getting his own spinoff, which we're going to talk about later. And it's just this season did such a better job, in my opinion, and it built off of what they did in season 1, of course, of giving us like teasing us with something, introducing something to us, and then giving us the payoff for it. That's the word I'm looking for. Payoff for it in the same season. Just like you don't have to wait another year for it. Really, they resolved pretty much everything and set up things in a really fun way. And the fact that we're gonna talk about it when we get to the news in a bit, like we're getting all these spinoffs and stuff, and people were speculating that maybe this could be the end of like Din Djarin's character, like just at, like on Disney Plus. I'm like, how? No way. There's so much more to tell. I didn't understand that train of thought. I mean, I get it because people were confused with the whole Book of Boba. Like, what's his direction going? Like, what's happening? Because he is a man. So, I mean, there was confusion there. I understand that. But I just think that they did such a great job of using the characters they'd already developed, bringing in new characters that we already knew from other shows and movies with Boba, and just giving us payoff after payoff after payoff, and doing it in a way that wasn't that predictable. Like, this episode wasn't very predictable at all. Right? I mean, I don't think any of us saw, spoiler alert, Luke Skywalker showing up. I mean, everyone was thinking that it was, maybe Ezra from Rebels, like, because that's kind of the same, like, I guess level or like the same kind of plane as like an Ahsoka show and stuff like because with Ahsoka and Thrawn, like, all right, like Ezra's out there, like, let's bring, like, that might be the Jedi. I almost think every time that someone was speculating on who the Jedi that Grogu was reaching out to, no one really thought Luke, because no one expected him to show up because it's Luke Skywalker, right? And anyway, I'm going to save my rant about that scene for when we get there.
Oh, rant?
Or not rant.
Is David angry?
Oh, I am not angry. I am.
The energy. Okay.
I'm just ecstatically. I don't even know. Like, I'm just very passionate about that scene. I mean, like, I texted you a bit when you were saying you're about to rewatch it. Like, I haven't rewatched the whole thing. I've only just rewatched the last 20 minutes of it because I just had to the other day. Whatever that was. Was that last night, 2 nights ago?
I've watched it 4 times.
Yeah.
And I still cannot believe what I just saw.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back. Let's get into the breakdown then.
So yeah, the best part of this, chase scene. Okay, first off, it's a great chase scene. We got to know that. Yeah. I love how Dr. Pershing is like, they're pirates. Shouldn't we just fight them? And it's important to note who says I don't have a death. That guy.
Yeah.
It's a true believer of the Empire, ready to kill himself at a moment's notice. And then we get for the second week in a row, they humanize the Empire on a level that, honestly,
absolutely,
I don't know. I don't exactly like them humanizing it, because then I feel worse than I already did, which was pretty damn bad, about the killing of what we now know and is confirmed canonically as million stars. That scene made me very certain that my fan theory that Grogu wasn't going to be saved was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, if everyone else is going to act like this guy, they're just going to kill themselves and kill Grogu at the same time.
Yeah.
But we get an amazing tense scene where Cara Dune shoots the guy in the face. Whoever this actor is, amazing. Give that guy all of the monies, all of the roles. He crushed that scene, because the key point is destroying your planet is a small price to pay for ridding the galaxy of terrorism.
Yeah, what the heck was that, man?
What do you mean, what was that? First off, you got to look at his perspective. Oh, are you saying like...
I was just saying, like, that was just like, this freaking guy, dude. Like, I was just upset. Like, it's one of those moments where you understand that they, like, have their own, like, warped perception of what it is, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, this dumb guy.
The best part of it is because we're looking at it as the audience, where the Empire has been created and propagandized. That's a word now. Santa Thor has said it so many times. The propaganda of the films is the Empire's bad, the rebels are good. Well, in the universe, there's enough propaganda on both sides. And if you've ever lived in our reality, you understand that propaganda from both sides is both bullshit. But, the rebels make the Empire out to be so bad, and we're freedom fighters. But the Empire creates the rebels to be the terrorists. They're just terrorists.
Right.
Threatening the galaxy because they're unhappy with the Empire. That's my Valen Hess impression. Terrible
nice.
today. Very terrible. But, you know, the episode with Valen Hess really set this entire episode for Moff Gideon and that guy perfectly. I go, oh, not just that, but his co-pilot's like, we can work something out. I'm not with him. Instantly shoots him in the back. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, you're right.
I've probably done the same thing. Like
that totally set up for this episode in those moments, definitely. And all the Moff Gideon stuff in this episode is so fascinating to me. Even just a lot of it. We can keep going though.
Giancarlo Esposito can never do wrong. Anyway, then we cut to title card The Rescue, which has at least 12 fracking layers.
And when I read that, I was like, oh, Thomas was wrong.
So as soon as it popped up, well, I mean, based on your text, I was like, Grogu gets it.
Yeah, I knew you would. I mean, I respected your theory. It was not a bad theory. Like, especially
I was throwing shit against the wall and seeing if any of it stuck. Not that one stuck. Some other one stuck.
I mean, I will say I am and was surprised how finite or like final Grogu's kind of rescue was, right? And I feel like everyone was to a certain degree because a lot of people think we're not seeing Grogu anymore, which is up in the air. I think we will. Yeah. Mostly because I have a Grogu in my I have a Baby Yoda somewhere. You have one. Like he's such a popular character. There's no way they're just gonna be like, all right, we're done with him. But we don't know.
Dude. Fan Dory on the spot.
What if we get a Luke Skywalker show?
I mean, everyone. So that's the thing, right? I don't know if that's going to be the case, and I think we would have had better odds if it were a Sebastian Stan actor coming out.
I am so happy you brought that up because we are definitely getting to that later when we question CGI. Because I think this is. I think this is giving Mark Hamill exactly what he really wanted and giving us, the fans, exactly what we want. One scene, Luke Skywalker, they DH him. He gets to be the badass, the best version of Luke.
Be the Jedi Master,
Luke Skywalker. And it still sets up everything that happens with Luke in The Last Jedi.
It does.
Beautifully, because you see the pompous is a bit of a word, there is a bit of a stretch, but arrogance, if you will.
Well, I don't know.
It's more, he's like, I'm
wise.
I'm Luke Skywalker, and I'm here to rescue you. Come, little one. And it's like, oh, he's with that Anakin vibe where he kind of has lifted himself up just a bit because, and every human being in the world would do this, because he literally saved the galaxy.
Yep.
He turned the most evil person in the Empire against the other most evil person in the Empire.
And
that is legendary.
You know, us going through this plot's going to be a disaster because let me just take you to a quick right turn. Think about this. Think about in Force Awakens when Rey's like, Luke Skywalker, I thought he was a myth. You know, that's kind of what I thought of when watching this. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like this would be this, like you were saying, this risen, like almost like not like almighty kind of like, you know, this
almighty works, bro.
Yeah, like this character who thinks he's got like all the power because he really does, right? He took down the Emperor. He took down, turned his dad, Darth Vader. Like, what else can you do except for try to raise and get the Jedi Temple and train more Jedi? You know, the story lines up, and I will say, like, that Luke totally lines up with a guy who would be like, was he even real? For someone especially like Rey, who's like on like the Outer Rim, like on Jakku, who doesn't never really seen anything, like, is that even a real thing? I gotta say, man, this it's funny, you saw on Twitter, I made like a bunch of us at the Direct were a lot of people on Twitter in general, but I retweeted someone from the Direct, Matt, we're ranking all the Star Wars films and TV shows. I've never seen Rebels, and I didn't add it in Clone Wars because I didn't feel comfortable like throwing it in kind of like with that. I didn't want to, but I threw in Mando, and it was at like number 6 after this. And I think after season 1, it would have been a bit lower. But after this season, honestly, it could be higher because this episode, just in general, we can get back to the plot. This episode in general was so just Star Wars, you know, like fundamentally, especially like how we just began with the chase scene. I mean, the budget. Are you kidding me? It looked like it was a movie. I would have loved to see that. Imagine watching this episode on the big screen.
Imagine the whole series on the big screen.
Yeah. We need to like put all of our money for the rest of our lives into just like a home theater. Like some people have the sweet setups, and I'm just so jealous because I literally watch my phone when it's available to me on like streaming because I'm bad like that. I don't take the time and effort to like set crap up for me. I just go on my phone or whatever and watch it. You know what I mean? Even though like in reality, I'd rather watch it on something grand.
I've watched this episode 4 times, twice on my iPad, once on my dad's TV, and last night on my TV. And, you know, my TV is a little bit bigger than my dad's, and my couch is far closer than my dad's. So I was like, and I had the headphones on, you know, like when I've said this before on our podcast, when I watch a movie at my house for work, for the podcast, or for writing Thor, I live in that universe. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, my
anyway,
God.
let's get back to the plot. I'm sorry. This is just.
You're good because, like, this is why we're jumping right into Mando because there's no news other than Mando.
No,
Bo-Katan gets recruited, but first, Mando fight! Oh, God. Listen, this whole episode is just me screaming for 46 minutes because, first off, I love Sasha Banks. She is my favorite female wrestler of the last definitely decade, because I'm pretty sure Trish Stratus and Lita retired somewhere in or around 2008, 9, give or take. I was definitely in high school when they retired. Yeah. So, classic. How old were you? Never mind. Don't tell me. So watching that was just her being her. I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, like, honestly, if any other chick were going up against Boba Fett standing there, I'd be like, eh. But Sasha Banks, I'm like, oh, shit. She could.
That was cool.
Like, she could take him. Like, she brings such a confidence, and she's over the top and braggadocious about it, where, you know, Mando's not, Bo-Katan sometimes isn't. Boba definitely isn't. He just looks at you and takes you out. She's like, yeah, is that right? And I'm like, ooh, she's got that Sabine vibe of I'll talk about it because I can be about it.
Yeah, I really like Sasha Banks' character. She's surprisingly to me, like, actually, I don't know, you want to root for. Okay. So anyway.
And the best part is for me, which I don't know if that would ever not be the case anyway. But when she says, I didn't know sidekicks were allowed to talk. And he says, I'm pretty sure the exact quote was, well, if that isn't the quackta calling the stifling slimy.
What?
Right? Right? Isn't that, first off, absolutely glorious? You know, it's basically the Star Wars version of, well, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black. It is so damn good. And again, I'm going to say it again. I didn't know sidekicks were allowed to talk. Well, if that isn't the quackta calling the stifling slimy, then she steps up and he goes, easy there, little one. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Boba. Well, first off, they do fight. They have. Yeah. Awesome. They end in a
cool fight.
Flamethrower stalemate. And then what's her nuts? Bo-Katan. Jesus. Bo-Katan says, what was the exact line? I am really upset that I can't find it right now in this here thing.
So quickly as you do that, like, call back to our last episode. Like, yes. I thought Bo-Katan wasn't going to get recruited. I think you kind of did think she was. If she were to pop up, she would. So, yeah, she was recruited. That part was interesting. And it was right off the bat. You know, like, we get that, like, pretty much immediately. And it's like, all right, we're in. You know, like, it was great. Like, I like that part a lot because we know right from the jump we're getting the team together and we're going to go off and try to save Grogu. And we pretty much know we're going to get Grogu at that point because the rescue.
They said they got Dr. Pershing And that's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
okay,
like
that's
that.
enough, in all
Dr.
honesty.
Pershing is a kind of a likable character.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the best part about this show, dude. Literally, you start off going, I don't like this guy because he's associated with the Empire. And they're like, oh, he's a hostage.
Yeah,
And-
literally, exactly.
And
He's,
he's like, no, we have to save the child. And it's like, what was chapter 3? Like, we don't kill it, don't hurt the child. He's like, I'm here to take him. And he's like, okay. It's like, oh, okay. Like, this guy might not be terrible.
He's not at all.
And then he instantly is like, no, your information, we'll get to that. But he basically is just like, this is why you're wrong, Bo-Katan. And then he's like, there's Dark Troopers. There's an entire platoon of them. My favorite line, I'm going to say this every time. They take too much energy. They suck too much energy to be powered up all the time. So they keep them on cryo freeze.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Dude, the Dark Troopers, Death Troopers, Dark Troop, both help.
Dark Troopers.
Okay.
Death Troopers are from Rogue One.
Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh, my brain just. Okay. Dark Troopers. Yeah, the Dark Troopers in this episode, I guess just in the season, but in this episode specifically, were terrifying. They had such a up and down journey between almost like one almost taking out Mando and that brutal scene of him of the Dark Troopers going do like punching his helmet in. That was brutal. And then the sneaky play of opening up the like air vac and then them all flying out of the vehicle into space. And I was like, all right, cool. Like outwitted them. Like that makes sense because it's like, if you can't take down one of these, how are they take out a whole bunch? And then at the end, we get a call back to that, or we get the continuation of that, seeing, oh my gosh, all these are coming. It's over. What's gonna happen? X-wing.
Oh man,
Anyway.
We'll get there. We just keep we're not good at not just jumping to it.
I know because it's so good. All right, let's get through it. Let's get through it.
Bo-Katan says, if we'd shown half that spine against the Empire, we never would have lost our planet. Then she has this really weird. I think I'm the only one that notices this because I'm a fan of Katie Sackhoff. She stuck her chin out so damn far that I was like, oh, that's weird. That's just me. It for sure. It was very Amulet Black from Flash. Which David, have you seen her in Flash?
I don't know. I haven't watched Flash since season 3.
Then no, you have not. And you have failed me.
I'm just kidding, bro. All I have next in this is girls get it done.
Yeah.
And I definitely meant to have the clip of Frenchie saying that. And I'm sorry that I failed you all. My bad. But that's all I could think of this entire time because you get Fennec Shand, which let's be real. If you've ever watched a single episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know how badass Ming-Na Wen is as any character. She voiced Mulan. She was the cavalry. She's Fennec Shand. And I need so much more of her, which we will get.
We're going to get, yeah.
Thank the Force. So they kick ass. You got Cara Dune, Sasha Banks, Katie Sackhoff. I'm sorry. Let me go through the actor's name because that's what I meant to do. You have Ming-Na Wen, Gina Carano, Sasha Banks, and Katie Sackhoff. What? Are you kidding me? You are taking my wrestling fan, my Battlestar fan, my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, and my MMA fan, and you're just beating them in the face and going like this. And I'm like, stop hitting me. I already liked it, bro. Shit, my face hurts.
Dude, I will say, like these 3 or 4 together,
they're the bad batch.
Yeah, like they honestly, like they are really likable and really believable as just they're gonna destroy you. Like,
did you pick up on the season 7, the start of the Siege of Mandalore? How they had an homage to that with Bo-Katan and Casca. As soon as Imp showed up, they jumped off. Oh, I just disappeared. They jumped off and went underneath on their jetpacks, and then when more Imp showed up, they flew up and took them out before they even landed. I lost it. I've
That
lost
was sweet. That was a sweet move.
for that. I'm calling it the pincer maneuver because I don't know what else to call it, and it definitely brought him into a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Literally, every time I see that, I'm just like, oh god, it's so good. Like that one little scene, and the fact it's a specific callback to, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't realized this, season 7 of Clone Wars came out this year.
Yeah.
This year.
When was it? February?
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it started in February and it went through quarantine. So that's why it doesn't feel like it's this year. But that was amazing. Now we're gonna cut through that and we're gonna get right to the shit of the episode. Mando walks in after taking out the Dark Trooper, which thank you for throwing that back into the plot. I was totally gonna skip over it.
Yeah. And
Moff Gideon, he says, "Give me the kid." And Moff Gideon goes, "The kid's good right where he is." And then instantly, he waves the Darksaber around. First off, as soon as that door opened, I definitely yelled a lot of expletives. I was very angry. The minute I saw him holding the Darksaber in a threatening position over Grogu, I may or may not have went to the dark side.
It's the classic, like, bad guy in a bad position, weak move. It's the, let me hide in this bunker and get my hostage and put a gun to their head, in this case a Darksaber to the head, and be like, I still have this person. Like, you can't take them.
David, I didn't even catch. You are a brilliant son of a cordon bleu.
What?
The other pilot literally did that to Pershing at the beginning of this episode, and I did not see that comparison. And so, you Superman motherfucker. Yeah, listen, Ryan Permison of Nerd Culture, I can't calm down. Like, there is no calm to be had.
Yeah.
I watched this 3 times, and the first 4 times you weren't here.
Oh, yeah.
The first 3 times that I watched it, I was silent because I did not want to yell. I felt like it would be inappropriate. Last night, I spent 46 minutes. It was really almost 2 hours because I was writing my script, yelling at the TV, and I was too drunk to cry, but I would have cried hard. Then, Moff Gideon is just saying, mesmerizing, isn't it? Used to belong to Bo-Katan. Yes, I know you've been traveling with Bo-Katan. My favorite villain line, possibly of all time, a friendly piece of advice. Assume that I know everything.
Yeah.
Like the fact that your wrist launcher is fired is one and only salvo. Mando asks, where is this going? The only reason I'm reading these lines is because there's so much detail in these 4 lines in this scene. This is where it's going. I'm guessing that Bo-Katan and her boarding party have arrived at the bridge seeking me, or more accurately, this. But I'm not there. And I imagine they've killed everyone on the bridge, being the murderous savages that they are. And now they're beginning to panic. You see, she wants this. Do you know why? Because it brings power. Whoever wields this sword has the right to lay claim to the Mandalorian throne. Mando, this is the reason I'm claiming he's going to be the Mandalore. This is one sentence. You keep it. I just want the kid. Moff Gideon reassesses his situation. Very well. I've already got what I want from him. His blood. All I wanted was to study his blood. The child is extremely gifted and has been blessed with rare properties that have the potential to bring back order to the galaxy.
Which is, can we please just say how that is like a slap in the face, like tie-in to The Rise of Skywalker and Palpatine and Snoke. Like, come on. I mean, there's no way at this point.
They are setting up the sequel trilogy so damn good that by the end of whatever they're doing in this era right now, we're going to love the sequel trilogy on a level hitherto undreamt of, bro.
I hope so. I mean, I hope so, right? Because
I already love it because it's Star Wars, but I think this will make me love it more. Kind of like Clone Wars did for me, actually enjoying most of Attack of the Clones.
I mean, I'm being
real, dude. After watching 7 seasons, I've seen episode 2 again, and I go, I don't hate everything in this movie anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I still don't like the Stockholm syndrome vibes,
Yeah.
but everything outside of that, those 5 scenes.
Obi-Wan's good in it.
Listen, Obi-Wan's good in everything, bro.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, recalling that Twitter little thing I did where I ranked the Star Wars films, I had Rise of Skywalker, I guess, kind of high. I had it highest of the sequel trilogy for me, which is, I guess, is it's a hot take for a lot of people. People think that might be the worst.
Dude, that is bullshnikes, because everyone picks a fight with me when I say Last Jedi is the best film of that trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 sides to the Last Jedi is obviously the most polarizing of the sequel trilogy, 100,000%. I think Force Awakens is the least, because I think when it first came out, everyone was like, "That was good, right? That was good. That was a good Star Wars movie. All right, let's get ready for the next one." And then Last Jedi comes out, and people either hated it, people loved it, to this day, it's still very controversial. Just the opinions of it. I don't know about the movie itself, but the opinions of it are controversial. So anyway, I had the Rise of Skywalker pretty high, and bringing it back, if this show, this event, culmination of all these shows sets up that film even more, like, it'll only rise for me, because my problem with it, like everyone else, is just how, Palpatine comes back, and the story is just so rushed, and it tries to go back and retcon stuff from The Last Jedi, which upset a lot of people, even people that did like The Last Jedi.
I don't want to get in this, but I don't think it actually retcons people. I just think people that are pansies. The only thing it really retcons is giving Rosemary Tran a lot more screen time.
Yeah, I mean,
Kelly Marie Tran, not Rosemary Tran. Kelly Marie Tran. Yeah. The only thing that they remotely would have retconned is her having screen time. Why is Dominic Monaghan in the damn movie? I'm not gonna get good. I get so mad that he's even in there. They never give the dude a name, but he knows all this stuff about the Empire. I love him as Charlie in Lost, and I hate him so much in The Rise of Skywalker.
I love how every time we bring up the sequel trilogy, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, the sequel trilogy is just toxic, because every time it gets brought up in any episode, go back to 37 now, anytime, we've never had a actual topic or main topic or news story about the sequel trilogy. But anytime it has ever been brought up, it has ended in rage and disagreement and just villainy galore. So all I wanted to say with that is I hope the Mando and all these other shows make the sequel trilogy even better, because obviously we need it, ladies and gentlemen. We need some meeting in the middle when it comes to the sequel trilogy and all the good things from JJ and Rian Johnson. So anyway.
Can you believe that just one actor that I love being in a movie is my least favorite thing of the entire sequel trilogy?
I know.
Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. And and they kill Snap Wexley.
I think we have that clip somewhere from the first time you see that.
Dude, there's definitely been more than one. This is probably the 6th time that I've just gone on a rant about Dominic in that movie, dude. Back to the plot. We get David. We get what we've been waiting for. Beskar, Darksaber.
Finally, right? I mean, honestly, if they didn't give this to us, would have been way more of a surprise, because this was just telegraphed through and through. Full setup in the Ahsoka episode, and I mean,
in the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, again. I know, right? They're beating it over their head.
Almost anything. It can't cut through pure Beskar. Which also, by the way, weird thing as an actor, I noticed that the cuts they had when, almost anything, she looks over to Casca Reeves, and then when it cuts back to her over the shoulder, she's still facing Mando. And I can't handle that inconsistency. And I have no reason why other than it bothers me.
Yeah.
But it set up the Beskar Darksaber duel again. And it went exactly the way I thought it would.
Yeah, it went well. Like, it was definitely entertaining, and I thought just a quick the beginning of it when he just slash it when Mando doesn't even have his saber out, or his spear out yet, and it's very what we learned in this episode. It's very Moff Gideon move just to attack randomly.
Yes.
He does it twice, where it's just like pure rage and it's out of left field. Like you think he's gonna do nothing, or he's gonna he's not just gonna he's not gonna pull it out slowly and be like, all right, ready. He's just gonna whip it out and go boom boom. And then later he shoots randomly. He doesn't telegraph it at all. It isn't like, hey, I'm gonna shoot you. Does some villainy line. No, he just starts shooting with a blank look in his face, like a psycho. And it was awesome. My point is, it was awesome seeing Mando block with his Beskar, which is just just terrifying. Imagine the guy swinging this saber at you, and all you have is your armor to protect you. But what the armor to protect him with? And yeah, so I thought that the actual scene, the one-on-one fight, was gritty. It felt not like a Jedi and a Sith fighting. It felt like a Mandalorian and someone who's not really strong with the Force fighting. It felt like a real fight with these with a Beskar spear and a darksaber. It felt more grounded than say a prequel trilogy Jedi fight or even from the original trilogy. You know what I mean? So it felt they did a great job of nailing what it would have actually been like for people of those. Even though I know you love the fan theory of Mando being Force sensitive, of not too Force sensitive people fighting with these weapons.
I'm glad you said that. The instant Mando bests Moff Gideon, what is the first damn thing we hear, David? What is the musical cue? It is the beginning of the Force theme. And it stops. It trails off right. It's dun, 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 dun. And it stops. And then Moff Gideon goes, "You're keeping me alive. Well, this should be interesting."
Interesting. Yeah.
Instant switch. And I don't think they threw that theme in right there without purpose. Because if you look at it from the essence, from the side that he's not Force sensitive, I don't understand why that theme plays right there.
Right.
And I don't understand why it stops either. That is the thing. Had it played through, I'd be like, I don't know if he's Force sensitive.
Yeah.
But it stopped, and I'm like, oh, did he just have a momentary tappening? That's a terrible, considering the fappening and the happening and all that crap that the internet, the tappening into the Force just a little bit, and then draws back because he goes, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
You have to surrender or whatever to Bo-Katan.
I know you want this to be true.
I am not the only one that thinks this, bro.
Okay.
But who was right about, you know what I was right about, David? Mando did get the darksaber. Mando did win the darksaber. Mando is rightfully able to claim the throne of Mandalore and become the Mandalore. I think in time, spoiler alert, we'll get there.
Okay.
Anyways, Moff Gideon gives mad exposition for the audience to understand in that scene. Bo-Katan sees Mando captured Moff Gideon. What happened? And it's very important to note that he's walking with the darksaber extended. And shout out to Jay Caspers, who has allowed me to use his fan art, which is the fan art of Mando flying through the air with the darksaber in hand, that a lot of people have shared on Pinterest and all this other crap. He gave me permission to use it in my Thor videos because I was like, I think he's going to win the darksaber, and I think he's going to go be Mandalorian. And he goes, oh, wow, I'd love for you. And I was like, I'm going to push your stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, at J Caspers, that is a CASPERZ art. on Facebook. It may be the exact same on Instagram. It may be without the art. We'll get to that later in promotions. Go look at all of his art that he does. It is chef's kiss beautiful. And I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to him because he has helped make my videos a little bit better because of the graphics that he's made. Back to the plot. Cara Dune says he brought him in alive. That's what happened. And now the New Republic's going to have to double the payment. Moff Gideon says that's not what she's talking about. Looks at Bo-Katan. Why don't you kill him now and take it? It's yours. Mando. What is? Moff. The Darksaber. Yeah. It belongs to you. Mando, the honorable son of a cathound that he is, walks up and says, now it belongs to her. David, we're going to get to this moment in a second. We're going to revisit this because you found something that I already knew. Moff, she can't take it. It must be won in battle. In order for her to wield the Darksaber again, she would need to defeat you in combat. Mando, the most important part of this is he's literally like, I yield. It's yours.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I yield. Fine. Whatever.
I yield. Fine.
You go. He's like, just please take it. Like, I don't care.
Literally. And then Moff's like, it doesn't work that way. The Darksaber doesn't have power. The story does. Without that blade, she's a pretender to the throne. And Bo-Katan says he's right. And Mando goes, damn. He's literally like, come on, just take it.
Yeah, no. Well,
he's like, get this fucking thing out of my hand, please.
Well, imagine that if you're him. It's like, oh my gosh, like who cares about all this garbage? Like, just take the dumb thing. Like, I don't care about the little story and the little la-di-da, the little game we're playing. Just take the dumb weapon. Because to him, everything's like straightforward like that. It's not this like mystical, magical crap. He's just like, take the dumb thing. Like, I don't care.
Exactly. As he said earlier to Bo-Katan, I don't care what happens. He is my only priority. Take whatever you want.
Yeah.
The child, he is my only priority. And it's like, he made it very crystal clear. And we know after spending this much time with him that when he says what he says, he ain't fracking around.
Yep.
He only cares about saving the child and getting the child to fulfill his destiny. So now, David.
Yes.
Before we jump to the connection of Rebels, do you expect Mando versus Bo-Katan?
I mean, they set it up right. No. Even though, cool, like if it happened, but I just don't see it story-wise. I don't think Mando would even fight. I feel like he'd just be like, no, like just take it, throw. I mean, I guess if Bo-Katan starts swinging at him, like shooting at him, of course. But
yeah,
if he has to defend himself,
he would fight. But I don't feel good about Bo-Katan's chances there.
Me neither. And I feel like he'd just be like, "What are you doing?" And just like I think he does not give a crap about any of that stuff. Like of like her having to win it. I feel like he's just gonna be like, "No, like seriously, just take it." Like Moff Gideon's in jail now. Like just take it. It's a little secret. Like I don't think unless he has to defend him, unless Bo-Katan starts, attacking him and he has to defend himself, sure, right? Like then they'll fight, which could be the case. I just don't see Bo-Katan being like that. I mean, that'd be kind of a turn for her, where she just is so, but she has been very laser focused on it. But I think, in my opinion, this is go a different way, where she doesn't have it, but her ally does have it, right? Instead of Moff Gideon, an ally, a friend has it, and they can maybe work together. Like I could see that going more that direction. You all right?
I stabbed myself in the eye.
I'm sorry.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they set it up a bit, but I just don't see that with those characters. I think that'd be almost a little forced, where it's like, oh, because this like la-di-da had like because he said so, we have to fight now. I don't buy it.
So I concur, but it wouldn't be, oh, he said so. It would be her singular focus on ruling Mandalore.
Right.
And it's very important. This is the one thing that makes me a little bit worried. My fan theory is the same as yours. They won't fight. And almost for pretty much the exact same thing you just said is how I feel. But as she said in season 7 of Clone Wars, I am not my sister. And her sister was a pacifist.
Right.
And her sister was willing to do whatever it needed to be for the best of Mandalore. And I'm wondering if Bo-Katan is too tainted by war and the loss of her family and her planet, and she might become a villain.
I mean, maybe, right?
Oh,
You know what I was also thinking about? I was writing an article the other day, and I'm like, wait, it's been like 30 years since the Clone Wars. Yeah. Like, hello? Like, has Bo-Katan really aged 30 years from when we see her in the Clone Wars? It doesn't seem that way, but anyway.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, if I'm remembering right, Duchess Satine is older than Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan is a little younger, and I think she was like max of 20 in Clone Wars.
Right.
So
anyway,
then,
it was a quick note just to be like, all these characters that are now showing up, it's like they should be pretty old. I mean, look at Luke Skywalker. Like they should be significantly older than Luke, right?
you know, my favorite scene, like my favorite thing with Bo-Katan is there's a point where she does something and she like wrinkles her forehead, and I'm like, it's Bo-Katan from Rebels. Like she's got the wrinkles there because, you know, like. I have mad stress wrinkles in my forehead, and you can also see like this weird Cro-Magnon shape. That's from football helmets. Wearing them for like 9 years of my life while having a broken neck. Recommend it.
Isn't it weird though? Random side note. Am I the only one that in my brain thinks that Ahsoka is still younger than Luke Skywalker? But she's obviously like 15 years older.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But think about it. She seems younger in my head, in my brain, than like this Luke that just showed up in this episode. But she's 15 years older.
It's because Rosario Dawson does not age.
This is true, right? I mean, I don't know. Like,
I'm pretty sure Rosario Dawson is like 8 years younger than my dad.
You're kidding.
I'm honestly not sure. I won't even lie to you. Like, I'm really not sure. She started acting when she was 15. She might be 10 years younger than my dad.
Okay.
How old is my dad? Okay, no, 10 years. Sorry. I think it's sorry, my bad. She's like 8 or 9 years younger than my mom. I'm pretty sure she was 15 in her first role in a film. I'm gonna go look this up because now I've just made a fool of myself. Which is,
right,
you know,
just a scene. I'm gonna explode.
Oh, get ready to explode. Dark troopers are fucking awesome. I don't know what that's there for, but it is. Gideon is a true believer in the Empire. He tries to shoot himself in the head. And then
that was unreal. I mean, that was a show. That was a very telling moment of like where Gideon's at in life, right? Like his plan is pretty much over. Mm-hmm. And here's part of it too, right? You know, true believers in the Empire, like we've seen earlier this season, their lives are expendable for the greater good, right? So I think in a way, Gideon was probably thinking, I got the blood from Grogu. I don't have the saber anymore. I'm not really useful. A Jedi's coming, right? Oh, throwback to Gideon's face when he sees a Jedi coming. Oh my God.
That's not even a throwback. That's a throw forward. No, that was technically a throwback. You're right. You see, the thing is, in that moment when he goes to shoot himself, all I could think was Cara Dune saying Moff Gideon was executed for war crimes. And I was like, oh, that's right. He ain't trying to get arrested again, man. Like, I don't know if he wants to go back in the clink. You know what I'm saying?
Future of Gideon is certainly going to be interesting. I love the way this sets it up, right? It's not going to be him in power necessarily. It's going to be almost like, you know what it kind of reminds me of? Where, you know, we're going to see a return of Zemo and Falcon Winter Soldier. Where did we last see him? Locked up, having after tried to kill himself with nothing to lose now. Like that connection?
Son of a bitch. Yes, I do. I don't know what I was going to... Oh, yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was so wrong. Rosario Dawson is 19 years younger than my dad. Yeah. She's literally like 12 years older than me. I'm sorry, Rosario. Like, I'm a dick.
Anyway.
She is literally like 10 years younger than I thought she was.
Right.
Why am I even alive? Anyways, it's because of Star Wars. All right, we've talked about a lot. We've tried to get to it, but we just keep like getting sidetracked.
Yes.
Luke fucking Skywalker! The X-Wing comes, and my favorite thing is, oh, yay, a single X-Wing. The minute the X-Wing showed up, all I could think was, and having seen all of what you said, hearing friends go, oh my God, it's so good. I haven't watched it. I literally got 16 texts that day and night being like, Mando. And I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. I'll get to you when I have. And I'm like, they're not going to do Luke Skywalker, are they?
Yeah.
And like, they're not, right? And I didn't believe it until, like, even with the green lightsaber, I didn't believe it. Not until they showed him wearing the glove, holding the hilt. And
The
I
glove
was like,
really
oh my
gave it
God.
up. And the hilt, yeah.
No, the hilt, not the glove. Anybody can wear gloves.
Yeah,
Nobody has Luke Skywalker's hilt. I mean, like,
that's true.
it's
That's
context
100% confirmation. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, it's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
It's Luke Skywalker. Reminder to anyone who's joining late, it was 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday while people were sleeping into a tent next to me. I couldn't yell. And it also
I can't imagine.
I was even awake at that point. Bro, that's when I just kept sending OMFG, 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 OMFG. David, I'm gonna get some flack from this, but everyone has to remember, I binged watched the first 3 Star Wars when I was 7, and I lived year after year after year after year waiting on the prequels. I'm not as big of a Luke Skywalker fan as everybody else. I don't hate him, but he's not the ultimate to me. And after 29 years on this earth, Ahsoka is the ultimate to me. She's the ultimate Jedi. She is what the Jedi are supposed to be. And it is important to note, supposed to be is the key word there, because as we know, Luke Skywalker is learning from 2 failures. And I don't like to use that word lightly. I don't like to throw it about or boot if we're in Canada. Shout out Willow. But Yoda and Obi-Wan are the last 2 Jedi Masters alive of the Old Order. And as we will find out soon, come January 5th when the High Republic launches, that is not the height of their power. So I was shocked. I was surprised. I was also 100% stoked that we were getting Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
But I have to say this. The CGI, not up to par for me.
Okay. I agree.
This is why I kept questioning whether I was asleep or awake and whether things were real.
I bet. Yeah.
I was like,
it looked a little dreamy.
I was exhausted. I'd had maybe a beer. I mean, I'd been up for like 20 hours, and I was like, I was watching on an iPad, and I was like, I can't tell who the hell that is. Like, is that Luke? Like, it kind of looks like Luke. It kind of looks like he's like swimming.
Yeah. I mean, so here's my thing on the whole Luke thing. I liked where you went with that. That was good. I mean, and it's, it's not I mean, I think it's probably a bit of an unpopular take that Luke's not like I mean, Luke doesn't have to be the ultimate. I think for a lot of people like younger, not like OG Star Wars fans that like went to the theaters out there in 77, like people my age, even like your age, our age are big Anakin fans for the most part. Like I love Darth Vader, I love Anakin. But Luke, I love Luke as well. Like that's the thing. I just love the Skywalkers, I guess, because I love Luke. And I love Luke in episode 6, which is more of what we got here, right? Like, yeah. I think he's so good in that. I love the green lightsaber. It's my favorite lightsaber. This is my rant, right? That I was mentioning earlier.
Rant away.
I was so disappointed in the sequel trilogy that there was no green lightsaber. In the Rise of Skywalker, when he's going and he's finding a separate second lightsaber, I'm like, oh my gosh, here it is. Here's the green lightsaber, and it's Leia's, which was cool. But that's a brand new lightsaber I've never even seen before, and it had a cool little story beat to it because it was nice knowing that Leia actually did train for a bit. But give me the green lightsaber, right? And we finally, I mean, the second it popped up, I'm like, please let this be Luke, because I just loved that green lightsaber. When I was a kid, I loved seeing the green one from the Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi to me is my number 2 Star Wars movie of all time behind Empire. Like, I don't know why it is disliked, I guess, as much as it is, because I think there's so much great in that film. I think the third act of the Return of the Jedi is like some of the best Star Wars ever. Maybe even like some of my favorites. The throne scene with me is just amazing. And just seeing Luke come in with the green lightsaber, just wrecking shop with these dark troopers. I mean, just the smirk on my face, because it's like, yes. And it's very, another scene that's absolutely unreal is the
greatest
Vader
scene of all time.
The Vader scene in Rogue One, which is exactly like I would argue it's possibly the greatest Star Wars scene of all time. And I almost want to like never see it again for like 10 years and rewatch it and I'll like cry. But because I see it
rewatch that whole scene from Rogue One and be like, I've seen the whole movie.
Honestly. And that scene, which is crazy because they added it late, I think. That scene makes Rogue One probably like a tier above maybe it would be without that scene in a way. Because I think of it.
Yeah.
I think of it in that. Every time I think of Rogue One, I think of that scene. And the rest of the movie. I mean, I love that movie. But anyway, Luke Skywalker showing up, the green lightsaber. Like I said, I was upset that it didn't show up in the sequel trilogy. I'm like, where is the green lightsaber? I love that thing. It's so cool how he assembles it himself and he bops it out. And I think even though blue's my favorite color, I just always have loved the green lightsaber just because I thought it was unique for Luke. And it served this like, it was in the story of the original Star Wars, it served more of a purpose than I think other like lightsabers have before. Where it's like he made it, right? He had to. He lost his hand. It was like him. It was the Jedi returning. It was this whole like symbolic thing. I don't know why I thought that's deep about it, but I just really liked it.
Because that's what it's supposed to be. Like that's why so many people, that's why so many people really love the green lightsaber, because Luke did make it himself. And that is the first time in Star Wars canon, chronologically in our universe that we currently inhabit, not the characters in the story.
Right.
That you found out, someone made a lightsaber.
Yeah, and we get the scene, obviously, in Return of the Jedi where it's like Vader's like, oh, what does he say? He's like,
you have constructed your own lightsaber.
Yeah.
Your training is now complete.
Yeah, it's like, all right, he's got it. Anyway, so I am just so happy. Another Favreau-Filoni just home run, giving the green lightsaber. Favroni home run, giving the green lightsaber the respect and love it deserves, because I love that thing. And I'll be honest, I agree with you about the CGI. I would say that like it was cool seeing him, and it's cool that Hamill was involved in this. That's awesome, right? And it's really cool to see that he was very excited to be in it and all this good stuff. I love that. But I will say, like, when he's done fighting and he gets to be like, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here for Grogu. That part, it was cool, but I was definitely like kind of distracted by the CGI a bit. Others weren't. I was. And what's funny is I actually saw a tweet before I watched the show, which I'm like, I have to watch it right now. Was someone mentioning CGI? So I knew, I'm like, all right, I have to watch this, because in my head I was like, all right, something's going on. Like I can't get on Twitter anymore. I got to just turn it on. I will say, when he's just destroying the Dark Troopers, like that was some of the best Star Wars, right? That's what makes this episode the best, because it's a great story of the characters we know. It's like Rogue One. It's a great story of the characters we've known in this story that are new to us. Not all new to us, but for this story, we're getting this story that it's all culminating, and then you just get this Star Wars. Just I don't even know how to describe it. Just what everyone loves about Star Wars when it comes to like the visuals of just someone just was swinging a lightsaber around, used the Force when he crushes that last one. Oh, it's so good, and it has so many like.
He is a Jedi like his father before him.
It's just awesome to see him at like the peak of his powers, just wrecking shop with those guys. Not even a problem when Mando could do nothing to stop them, and he is just destroying them with his and really cool moves and really Luke moves, right? It's very like lightsaber forward, and then he uses the Force when he feels like he needs to, and it taps into a bit of Vader, and you can see he's definitely, since episode 6, he has, grown even more strong with the Force. It's not an issue. It's more of that Luke that we see in episode 6, just even more developed, that we didn't see in episode 8, because obviously so much had happened before then. Anyway,
this is one of those things. Now we know.
Yeah, exactly. I loved the use of Luke in this. I think I'm so happy they didn't think, because I feel like the show in a way has been like, hey, this is a Star Wars TV show. We're going to keep referencing and bringing up other Star Wars from TV show characters. Not a bad thing, but give me Luke Skywalker. Let's go. I mean, for more casual fans, everyone knows Luke Skywalker. Not everyone knows Bo-Katan. Not everyone knows Ahsoka, right?
Not even everyone knows Boba Fett.
Right. Okay.
I'm being a Jamoy that we used to work with. No idea who Boba Fett is. Knows who Luke Skywalker is, though.
Exactly.
So, that's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, casual Star Wars fans that have all gotten into Mandalorian for whatever reason, because it's the only show on Disney Plus to watch that's new, and everyone loves Grogu.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker shows up. The CG, I guess, is good enough for people, and he's just laying waste. An absolute awesome Star Wars scene, just for the love of what Star Wars is, and that's all I really have on this. I wasn't a hugest fan of the CGI. I brought it up to a few people. Sorry if you were, but I wasn't. I think where they nailed it most was hood up Luke, looking like his dad, just destroying those things, being the Jedi Master he was. It was Luke as if he was like a Jedi Master in the prequels trilogy, in the way of him fighting, right? Like we never saw
destroying droids, baby. Listen, remember earlier, I think it was earlier this year, when I was talking about Ahsoka and all I wanted to see was, Ahsoka slice down some droids.
Yeah.
And then she sliced down one droid and I lost it. They gave me like a whole platoon of droids getting wiped out by Luke mother effing Skywalker. And I was just like, oh yeah, give me more. Here's the one thing I do want to say about the CGI that I did love. Once I found out it was Mark Hamill, I've been analyzing it very closely. And I think the reason it really bothers us, David, is it takes away the wrinkles of older Mark Hamill, but it can't reconstruct the droops and reopen his eye. His left eye, I've noticed that for me, as I've gotten older, my left eye droops a little bit and my left eyelid closes more than I ever want it to. Pretty sure it's part of my astigmatism and the fact that I've been hitting the head 100,000 times playing football. But we all have to remember that Mark Hamill did get in a car accident before Empire Strikes Back and had to have a lot of plastic surgery to reconstruct some of his bones, actually, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah,
so,
no, it was serious.
Yeah, so
that's why in Empire he's like upside down for that one scene.
Exactly, and that's why they added that attack so that they could explain why he looks a little different. Because if you notice, before that scene where he's covered in blood, they don't show his face really. Yeah. He's
covered up in the hood and the mask.
He's on Hoth because some like it hot. I like it cold. Listen, I'm gonna continuously use that line all of the times.
You do like a cold Santa, Thor.
It's Thor Santa. Thank you. I don't even remember which. I keep messing it up, but
it's fine.
But what I did notice is it does look like old Luke Skywalker. He's still got the slant, like
it was the mouth for me. The lack of head movement and then the mouth moving and the teeth looked a little off. It was like the teeth and the mouth for me, for whatever reason.
Yeah. No, I noticed that. Like for me, it definitely was here. That looked weird, but I noticed that his left eye was a little bit more closed than it would have been.
I will say, I did enjoy the lines. The lines were great. It was just the CGI. So anyway,
and I love that he's such a damn good voice actor that he just was able to pitch his voice.
Yeah,
like in Last Jedi, he sounds like the Joker to me. Can't imagine why. I can't even get that low and gravelly because I'm not as old as Mark Hamill one day. But then this, like in my head, I'm like, all he has to do is watch Return of the Jedi, and then because me, I can pitch my voice up really high, like, bro, I'm Spider-Man, man. Like, dude, that's awesome. I know how I sounded when I was 16, and I also can go, down like this and do whatever I want. And that's just the brilliance of having Mark Hamill, who is one of the greatest voice actors of all time.
Yeah.
Like straight up, he's easily in a top 10 of greatest voice actors of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So the fact that all he has to do is a little bit of high pitchedness to get his voice where it needs to be is chef's kiss. Because it is Mark. As soon as he started talking, like, that's Mark Hamill. Like, that is 100% Mark Hamill's voice. How they got that, I'm not sure. Because again, the first time I saw it, I was like super tired.
Yeah.
Now, because we've gotten to this point, we have to take a momentary pause and have an ad break because we got bills to pay, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to give a quick shout out to Josh Bauer. His motherfucking birthday is today.
Hey, happy birthday.
You are the sexiest son of a cordon bleu I've ever met in my life. And without you, we would have no cool intro. And without you, I would have like no good logos for my Thor show. So happy birthday, brother. Thank you. Fans, please watch this 60-second ad and go buy Josh's art on his shop because I would have it up, but I have a green screen. So I would just green screen everything.
JBauerArt has the graphic design skills you need to develop your next logo and at an affordable price. But he's not just a one-trick pony. Follow JBauerArt on social media to interact during live paintings and see all of his previous artwork, which you can buy exclusively at jbauerartshop.com. Not only is he an artist, this beautiful son of a blue brings you the Back Talk with Bauer podcast every week with unique guests. And every month he hosts a special Back Talk with Friends episode that can only be described as chaotic and hilarious. Need a video intro or commercial? JBauerArt has you covered. For all of this and more, follow JBauerArt on social media. That's JBauerArt. Check out jbauerart.com for a full portfolio and jbauerartshop.com to buy that special painting for you and your loved ones.
And we are back. My last note on Luke Skywalker, because I really thought about this. They brought back Mark Hamill. And if you're going to bring Luke Skywalker in and you're not, like I was really, I wanted Sebastian Stan. I think you kind of wanted that too.
Yeah, totally. I did.
And I still think that's a possibility. And here's why. Luke Skywalker's return, right? He was very adamant. He wasn't a fan of where Luke went, but he understood.
You mean
based on
Mark
the
Hamill's
time.
return?
Mark Hamill, yes. Oh no, I meant Luke Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
Because Mark Hamill had mentioned that he wasn't, the biggest fan of everything that happened in the Force trilogy. And he's like, that's not my Luke, but this would be his Luke. And it also sets up beautifully what happens in Last Jedi. So it makes it a lot more cohesive. Now, because they have recast Han Solo before as a younger person. Mm-hmm. And yes, we do have footage of Return of the Jedi, Mark Hamill, and then Last Jedi, Mark Hamill. That's a weird coincidence of how that lined up in terms of name of films. And, he came back for this. If I'm remembering right, it's like $1 million per minute of like having to fix that, like de-age someone.
Really?
Somebody said that, and I don't know if that's true, but it's a high price to de-age someone.
Dang.
So they spent a lot of budget, and they strategically missed shots to allow for, as as little as we can of the CGI and as much as we can of building the aura and the presence of how great Luke Skywalker is, including the beautiful score from Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
Now, if Luke Skywalker comes back, which I think this isn't even a fan theory, 100% Luke Skywalker will come back. I don't see why they'd introduce him here with Grogu and Mando promising that they will see each other again. I don't see why they do this and they don't bring back Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
If they do, I think they would recast. I think you'd have to recast. And I genuinely think if they don't get Sebastian Stan, they're missing out because Mark Hamill himself has said that he supports Sebastian Stan playing him because he looks better than if I'm quoting him right, Mark Hamill said he looks better than I ever did at his age. And it's like, it's not wrong. So I think that's a potentiality of what will happen. Now, Grogu's gone and we're all sad. But I have Grogu here, so I can make you all a lot happier. Boopity boop boops boops his nose. David, we're gonna do a very short segment because it's gonna lead into our fan theories of what the news.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a weird order for what the news today. But hey, there was a post-credit scene here for The Mandalorian, which
we should have talked about that before we got to the news.
Well, it's kind of the news.
It is the news. Tell us what happened in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, so we see Boba Fett and oh my gosh,
Fennec Shand,
which is for some reason one of the hardest names to remember. I don't know why. They come in. What's the name of that character that they killed? Who is from
Fortuna?
Yeah, from Return of the Jedi, he's gotten fatter now. It's like, wait, does everyone that is in Jabba's Hutt or whatever just get fat? Is Boba Fett now going to get huge?
Boba Fett's already a little fatter than he was.
He was, yeah. He's like Boba Fett looks. Boba Fett in Mandalorian looks like an imposter wearing the Mandalorian outfit. Like again, it's not exactly like it from Chapter 9, but he does. Like he's.
Yeah,
he looks so much bigger. If you go back and look at the regular trilogy, it's like he looks like a giant in it. It looks like he's bursting out of it. Anyway,
Swoba Fett.
So Boba Fett takes the what do you call it? The throne. And we're getting the Book of Boba, which is going to be what is now confirmed. This is the news, right? The Book of Boba. It's official. Jon Favreau went on Good Morning America. La da da da. Like we can all talk about it for days. It's going to be its own show. It's going to be a spin-off. It's going to come out possibly tangentially with Mandalorian, even though now it's looking like Mandalorian might not come out until 2022. Mm-hmm. And Boba Fett is what we're getting in 2021. Think about how many Star Wars Disney Plus shows are coming, right? I mean, you want to talk about it's kind of sad. Like we're getting how many we have two. We have two confirmed movies, one with an actual title that we know is going to come out in theaters. And then we have what feels like 8 Disney Plus Star Wars.
Oh no, it is 2. We have Ahsoka, Acolyte, Lando, Droid Story, Visions, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, Bad Batch, Mando, and Boba Fett.
It's unreal.
Boba Fett. Wait, I don't even think I said Rangers of the New Republic. I didn't. Rangers so that's 10 or 11.
Yep. I will say, it's going to be a lot of Disney Plus all of a sudden. I'm looking forward to it. I know some people are worried like there could be like a burnout or it's true. It's not for us. We won't. A lot of people like that we want to talk to you on the internet won't either. But there are definitely people that are casuals that maybe not get burnt out, but they're not going to watch every single thing. Like right now, everyone's watching Mandalorian. I don't think everyone's going to be watching the Book of Boba Fett or Andor and stuff like that. I'd like to think that, but I don't.
Yeah, we'll get to the fan theory of Boba Fett.
Sure. But anyway, I just wanted, I guess, some quick news. Also, you wanted to bring this up, just the simple fact that Rangers in the New Republic. This is a good bit of news, right? It takes place, Jon Favreau says, right after the events of Return of the Jedi. So before Mandalorian, at least it starts there. It's Kathleen Kennedy did say at Masters Day, it's all going to end in this culminating event, apparently, with, well, I guess now we can include Boba Fett, Mando, Rangers, and Ahsoka is going to like culminate in whatever it's going to be. And but apparently Rangers of the New Republic, which is cool because the New Republic obviously comes right after the Empire falls, so it's going to take place right after that. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe that's where we see Luke come back. Who knows? Anyway.
Oh man, you're right. That's possible.
Yeah. Any other like bits of like what the news stuff here, or did you want to just hop into some theories?
Well, we needed all of that to kind of dive into the theories.
Yeah, right. We're getting all this from Disney Plus. It's not slowing down, and we are getting a proper Mandalorian season 3. Apparently, it is coming, like with Din Djarin as the main character. What Grogu's up to, up to be determined. But we know Din Djarin, after his sad farewell that we didn't really talk about with Grogu, that was literally like heart wrenching. It makes me sad watching it. That's why this episode's so good, because it literally made me sad watching it.
After Luke Skywalker laid waste to Dark Troopers. I know.
I'm like, oh, this is so sad. I mean, touching, really. That's why it's such a good episode, but has everything to it.
The baby, like the Grogu face touch, I was like, it's like Han to Ben.
Yeah.
So I think the Book of Boba Fett, it looks like the Book of Boba Fett's going to lead into the fact that, okay, I'm just going to toot my own horn. Back in season 1, when someone walked up to Fennec Shand, I said, it's the Boba Fett. And I said at that time that Fennec Shand was already working for Boba Fett, because if Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit and Jabba's no longer there, who's the man who would have taken over? Well, it'd be Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I was a year too early, but I was right, because now he's taking over Jabba's gang,
which is cool.
And Fennec Shand is working for him. So shit, I was, in the ballpark. It was a what was it, in the park home run? We'll go with that.
Sure.
But I think it's going to lead up. It's going to do that. It's going to set him back up to do his own thing. I'm very intrigued about Book of Boba Fett. I hope it is a gangster film. Like, I hope it's a gangster show, man.
Yeah.
Like, so bad. Like the American Gangster or Godfather or The Sopranos. Like, dude, just give it to me. But it's not just a guy who runs the place. He literally will just be like, all right, well, let's go outside and duel. It'll be fun. And they're just like, no, whatever you say, Boba. Like, I'm trying not to die today, So I think that's what that's going to do. And I also think it's going to give him a little bit more power in an army. And maybe he's not such a bad gang leader after all. Maybe he goes on he tries to be honorable, and he is honorable. We've seen what he does when he, I promised you that the child, I wouldn't leave until the child is safe. And so that's how we got Boba Fett in the rest of this season. So I'm hoping that he doesn't go and just like start running spice, but instead goes and tries to build the proper good vibes in the galaxy. Rangers of the New Republic, Mandalorian, and Ahsoka all leading to this extravagant event. One thing that is mentioned, that Dave Filoni is currently writing Ahsoka as we speak.
Yeah.
Favreau is in charge of Rangers of the New Republic. I was hoping we'd get Ahsoka or Rangers of the New Republic next year. I was hoping that they'd already filmed it. Doesn't look that way. Maybe Rangers of the New Republic has filmed some stuff, but I doubt it.
Yeah, the production of these things is kind of weird because Andor is going, Kenobi's going, but these shows, it doesn't really seem like it, right?
Yeah,
but soon, and we know we're getting Boba in 2021, and we know we're gonna get Mandalorian right around then. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of Star Wars coming, so
it's really looking like Andor, Kenobi, and Boba Fett are 2021's Star Wars production.
You think Kenobi's this year? The rumor is that it's next year, or that it's wait.
Yeah,
the 2
years. 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, so,
now it's got to be next year.
Here's my thing: if you're gonna start filming Boba Fett for however many episodes that they're gonna film Boba Fett,
it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a full like 8 episodes, by the way.
Exactly. And how many episodes is Kenobi? 4, right? So
You think longer though, but yeah,
no,
you're right.
I don't think longer. I think it'd be 4 episodes.
No,
Kenobi.
I'm saying like the length of the episodes seem to like they'll be long. Like the hours of the show should be longer, apparently.
I have a feeling that Boba Fett. I feel like the Mandalorian is doing its own thing. It's going on this very Clone Wars vibe, which I'm going to get to in a minute. I have a feeling. No, I'm going to get to it now. I feel Book of Boba Fett is still a part of the Mandalorian story.
Yeah.
And that's why they're calling it the Book of Boba Fett. You know, season 1 and 2 could really be called the Book of Grogu, right?
Right.
And then, you know, season 3 and 4, and I'm predicting it now, is the Book of Mandalore. I'm calling it now, baby. So whether we get Grogu or not in the Mandalorian, but like, if they're going to film Boba Fett now and they're going to get it out in a year, there's no reason that they can't film Kenobi, which, if I'm not mistaken, they've bumped it up to starting early in January of filming that and get it done in the same amount of time. I think as soon as Boba Fett ends, Mandalorian will start season 3. Or, you know, there'll be a week difference or a couple weeks difference similar to Mandalorian and WandaVision. Because don't forget, baby, we got all the Marvel shows in 2021. So they're going to have to sneak
sure do.
in.
We sure do. We have so many.
We have so many. I think Andor comes out next year. I'm hoping Andor comes out
next year. It seems like that because that's like what's really
they got a lot
real already.
They have a lot filmed.
They do.
And they had a sizzle reel of Kenobi. Now, I don't know if it was concept art or actual footage, but I think some of it was actual footage. I could be wrong about that. I hope I'm not. So I'm hoping that we get Andor, Kenobi, and Boba Fett. And to think about it, 3 characters established already touching into different parts of canon that we either already know about or are about to know about with Book of Boba Fett. I think when it comes to the building of the story, the crossover of Rangers of the New Republic, Mando, and Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic is going to lay all of the groundwork about Thrawn. You know, at the end of the Empire, someone has to come up and it's going to lay that groundwork, and then they're going to jump forward a little bit. I think Mando, if we get this crossover at the end of 2022, which does very well seem possible right now.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, Mando season 3 and then Ahsoka limited series. I think Mando season 3 will be the building of the team of trying to retake Mandalore. Similar how most of this season was trying to get Grogu someplace, and then at the very end of the last episode, he gets there, right? I think at the end of Mando season 3, they're going to have everybody ready, and they're going to have something's going to happen. Yeah. Like season 1 of Mando ended really positively. The only real teaser was Moff Gideon is still alive and has the Darksaber, right?
Yeah.
I think we get something like that in Mando season 3.
I like it.
Except at the end, it's a call from Ahsoka saying, I know where Thrawn is, and he's on Mandalore. Now, I don't know if they do that because Mando season 3 is going to come out before Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka. But if they do what I think they might do, Mando season 3 could be getting the team ready, aka Bo-Katan and all that crap, which again, my fan theory is I think Bo-Katan follows Mando because she just watched the guy who, you know, is a child of the Watch take off his mask for Grogu to give Grogu away to a Jedi like he promised he would do, and he literally did everything he could to not have the Darksaber. I think she's going to be like, you know what? Maybe he should rule Mandalore because he clearly has no problem making the tough call, which leaders need to do. Rangers of the New Republic sets it up. Mandalorian builds the team to go together, and then Ahsoka will do all of the groundwork in finding Thrawn, which is going to where it's all coming together, and they're going to retake Mandalore with Ahsoka. Nay, they're going to re-siege Mandalore with Ahsoka, and they're going to replace Thrawn on the throne of the Mandalore. Cool. Because we know it's not Gideon, because Gideon would be on Mandalore.
Yeah.
So it's got to be someone else, and I think it is Thrawn.
I like it. I mean, we know Thrawn's coming. So
we know Thrawn's coming, and we know it's going to be in the Ahsoka show. And I just don't see how this event series that they're all building to can't be retaking Mandalore with Thrawn on the
setting
throne.
up to. Yeah, it could be. And I honestly will say, like, I don't have that many great theories because, you know me, with Star Wars, I'm a lot more about going along for the ride.
Yeah.
Marvel, I love to theorize, but I don't know. I know a lot about both, but there's something more about Marvel where it's like I think because it's way more like you're kind of on one path with Marvel, it's easier to kind of like everything it really is connected. When Star Wars, this is connected, which is cool. Like they're building their own little like cinematic universe, even though it's all actually connected, but it's really connected in this way. I just think that as time goes on, things will get a lot more clear because with all this Disney Plus stuff and the dates, it's very, I think even to some degree they don't know like how exactly they're going to execute the order and how they're going to release this. Because I mean, the whole point of Investors Day, right? We talked about this. Build up Disney Plus, say how streaming is like the direct to consumer. It is the future, right? Are we going to be getting like multiple episodes of new shows a week of this stuff? Because it's going that direction. Just think about how much Marvel and Star Wars they have planned. They have more. Star Wars has way more Disney Plus series planned than movies, significantly. This for Star Wars specifically, Disney Plus is like the new home. Marvel too. But it's still a bit more split. Star Wars right now, it is on Disney Plus. You need to have Disney Plus if you're a Star Wars fan. And it's already been there. Clone Wars season 7, both seasons of Mandalorian, we're already in it. Marvel this coming month, we're getting it to begin. But yeah, I mean, Star Wars is Disney Plus so far, and it's going to keep it up. So I'm excited. I think they're going to execute it well. I think these shows, I'm curious how long they'll stretch out this culminating event. It doesn't, like how many years, how many seasons of these shows, what's going on? Like,
well, we do know Ahsoka's limited.
Exactly.
Right? So that's a one season. So whenever they point out when Ahsoka happens, that'll lead into that event series.
Right. And that seems like 2022. So,
which again, you know, how they're doing this one, it sounds like the Book of Boba Fett is a limited series too, right?
It does.
So why not the Re-Siege of Mando? I'm on that train so hard. I still think Mando is force sensitive. That's my fan theory. I think, but my official quote in our show notes is Bo-Katan will be cool after the Grogu thing. We know Moff Gideon's going to have a bigger role in season 3, and that I have to quote Caitlin McKenna Bush from Jabba the Pod that Moff Gideon is a messy bitch who loves drama. He's going to stir up some drama. He's going to stir up some drama. He's going to try and get Bo-Katan to try and kill Mando. Like 100%. That's going to be the whole plot for him. Now, I think Grogu will come back and make a big save like Luke did in the future. Like, and when I say like Luke did, not like Luke in this show, but more like Luke in Empire, where he's like, I have to go save my father.
You know what I was thinking about?
Like, you know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. I might even go. Could you imagine if we get Luke Skywalker in the Re-Siege of Mandalore?
What I was gonna say, something I thought about just now when you were saying that is everyone's been speculating about because Yoda by the time he was 100, right? Grogu's 50. When Yoda was 100, everyone's saying how he was already training Jedi. He was, you know, fully functioning adult thinking person, and Grogu's like a child. He's a baby or whatever, child. I wonder. Having said that, I wonder if him now being back with Luke and training, if it will like, I guess, accelerate his like growing up because he'll be like back in training, not almost shunning out his like M count, as some may say. You know, I think it's a possibility that now we could see him age a bit faster because he's getting the training, like the Jedi training. Maybe that's a bad idea, but I think that could be a possibility because I feel like
good idea. I
don't know if they want Grogu for all. We have to know what happens to Grogu eventually. Yeah, because we know from the last Jedi that the Jedi temple that Luke built got burned by Kylo or Ben Solo at the time, and like everyone like fled. So we know it fell. The Jedi temple fell, right? And at this point, we would assume that Grogu would have been a part of that. But did he get to that point? We don't know. We must, when people like were saying this was the end of Grogu, I'm like, no, this cannot be the end of Grogu, because we must find out what happened between this point and that point.
Exactly.
And we know he's the species of Yoda, so it's like he can live for a long time. So we must find out what happens, or I'm going to be very upset.
Something we did not touch on, R2-D2. The reason, you were talking about Grogu and, what, is he alive? Is he dead? And then it brought me back to the reminder of my, I don't even think this is a hot take or much of a fan theory. It's my headcanon. R2 is the one who saved.
Yeah, I love that.
Because the way that they interacted, and, when I heard it one time, he beeped in a certain way, and I heard him say something. Like, in my head, it was, "I'm so happy you've had a good life, little one." And it was like, and I was like, "Oh my God, I know what he said." And now I can't find when he said that, when he beeped that. But like the instant that, he gets to a certain point and he's like, "Yeah, oh my God, I'm so excited." Like, yes, you did it. And who better than an old grizzled war veteran of R2-D2 to have saved Grogu? Like that makes perfect sense, right? Because, Anakin would never, and here's a question I have. R2-D2 was able to understand the coups of Grogu. This is something I've been wondering for a while now. Can droids be force sensitive? Can they have the force imbued with them in the same essence that, I don't know, a lightsaber is imbued with a kyber crystal?
I mean, if anyone does, it's R2.
Yeah.
It's R2.
These are thoughts that I've had and thoughts that I need to be explored in that show, A Droid Story. David, I've run out of fan theories. We got to wrap this up. It's getting so late. But there's one bit of news that I have to mention.
Sure.
The Acolyte is set after the fall of the High Republic. And the High Republic lasted, what was it? I think 150 years, meaning the Acolyte takes place 50 years before A Phantom Menace.
This is the part where we play the clip of Sidious asking if they ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Have you ever heard of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Dude, if I wasn't excited enough for this show,
Exactly. This was, out of all these shows, Lando's probably like, yeah, I'm excited because, like, I love Donald Glover. But this is the one, we're going to explore the dark side during the High Republic. And having read,
Republic.
Yeah, exactly. And having, this was before we knew it was after the fall. Having read about Darth Bane and all that stuff, I'm like, A, it's called The Acolyte. B, they're talking about dark side. And C, there's a giant lightsaber gash in the title. Okay, you've hooked me. So very excited about that. David, it's time, man. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can find me. Thanks everyone for joining us today, by the way.
Yes.
Very fun Mandalorian episode.
We have questions in the comments. Okay, real quick. From Brian Crookie Monster the First. Why would Boba Fett take over Jabba the Hutt's old lair? David, I'll let you answer that question.
Why would he?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer this?
Yes, because I honestly, true. I had the same because I kind of have the same question where it's like just for funsies, like just because he wants to, like just because he used to go there and it's like this is mine now, because it's in his world, right? That's like it's called back to what he used to, as a bounty hunter. It's his world, right? And I think him being on top of that means something to him. Yeah. So that's why.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that because it did remind me of what my original answer was when I first saw this earlier in the show. I think that if I'm not mistaken, something went wrong and he was forced to work under Jabba. It wasn't. It wasn't I'll be your bounty hunter if you pay me well. It was like something happened and he specifically worked for Jabba. Because if you remember,
Mm-hmm.
he got hired to find Han Solo by the Empire as well. He was brought in.
That's why, yeah.
So I think he is trying to take out anybody who might know of his debt and try and remove that and restore his honor. Second question from Spoiler Force Podcast. Shout out Spoiler Force Podcast. Is Mando not the focus for next season? ? David, thoughts?
For the Mandalorian season 3, I believe Din Djarin will be the main focus. I think that's question's been in the air though, right? Like everyone for a second after the Boba Fett announcement was like, is that what the Mandalorian is next season? Is that season 3 of Mandalorian? Now it appears, which I am very happy about and makes perfect sense to me, that yes, Mando, Din Djarin will be, Pedro Pascal will be returning for the Mandalorian, and we will continue the story, which is not done, you know? It's really not. Like Grogu off with Luke, that's one thing. I think there's so much more to tell here, and yes, so I do believe that he will, in fact, be the focus for next season.
I concur entirely. David, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can find me at David Thompson on Facebook, at David J. Thompson on TikTok and Instagram. Then you'll find me on Twitter, where I have the most fun on social media, at David Thompson with 2 A's in the David there on Twitter. Thomas, what about you?
You can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester -actor, at Thomas Carter Rochester, all in one word, no hyphens, no spaces, on Instagram, at TC Rochester Act. That is TCROCHESTERACT on Twitter. And of course, on YouTube, you can find me at Life of Thor, where you can watch not only Thor Watches the Mandalorian, Thor Talks 2, but you can also find my acting clips, my editing reel, all that you need to find there. David, promotions for the week, good sir.
Yeah, I've wrote a few articles lately. I'm not really writing any right this second, but go check me out on thedirect.com. I'm writing a bunch of stuff about Star Wars, about Marvel, about DC, all this good stuff. Go check me out there, David Thompson, The Direct. Go read all of our other good stuff. And yeah, go check us out. I'm sure I'll be writing more soon. I've written a bunch of some Star Wars pieces, one including a Clone Wars Easter egg in the season finale of Mandalorian. Go check that one out. Yeah, thedirect.com. Go see us.
As always, of course, you can go to our shop, lotproductions.threadless.com/collections for our to help support your favorite podcast, which is hopefully us. And if it's not, that's understandable. We all have our tastes. But I want to promote Jackson Casper's art on Instagram. You can find him at Jackson_Caspers. That would be JACKSON_CASPERSZ. His website is jacksoncaspersart.com. That is JACKSONCASPERSZART.com. Again, he created the Mando holding the Darksaber. This week, there will be no Thor watches on Thursday. I was hiking, but it'll be the first ever Christmas special of Thor Watches the Mandalorian. It's going to be packed. Expect this hat. It's going to be a great time. Now, next week, because Mando has wrapped up, what are we going to be doing next week, David?
Oh, it's back.
Time. I should have had the. Oh no, I deleted it. Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, the trilogy of trilogies will return. We have 3 weeks until the start of WandaVision. Next week,
3 weeks. Let's go.
I know, bro. I can't wait. Next week, we will watch. We will start Wanda and Vision's story with Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Haven't watched this one in a while.
Same. It's been a while. I think before Endgame came out is the last time I watched it. So that'll be a fun
double header with this and Wonder Woman.
Ooh.
That's what my move might be.
That won't be my move. My move is to watch Wonder Woman first thing on Friday. Second thing Friday, because first thing will be the Disney Gallery. So.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sorry for yelling like the whole time. I did warn you that I was going to freak out. So I love you so much. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
I'm David Thompson.
And thank you for joining us for episode 37 of Lights, Thunder, action. We'll catch you all next week.
Trilogy of Trilogies is back!
Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you about the Life of Thor Productions official shop. The only place where you can get your official merchandise for the Lights of Thunder Action podcast and Life of Thor's Thor Watches series. Whether you want t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, mugs, or masks, Life of Thor Productions official shop has you covered. If you happen to recognize there's an item that you would like to buy that is not in the official shop, head over to the Lights of Thunder Action podcast or Life of Thor and request that item, because if you want it, we'll sell it. Just head to lotproductions.threadless.com/collections to get the item that calls out to you via the Force. Again, that is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. Thank you and have a Thortastic day.